Chepesiuk, this is Chepesiuk, and I'm here with Alison Myrden. She's a speaker today at the Toronto Freedom Festival. How's it going?
Fantastic. How's it going?
Pretty good. So, why are you here today?
I'm here to spread the word of LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. I'm a retired law enforcement officer, and I'd like to see all drugs legalized and regulated, like alcohol and tobacco at least, or something similar, maybe like coffee, some of them, like cannabis, and other drugs maybe a little bit harder, maybe a little tougher on them. But we want to see all drugs off the street and away from children and out of the hands of criminals.
And you think legalizing that will make that happen?
I definitely know it will. I've been doing it for a number of years now, and we're on the right track.
Okay, because do you think there's too much emphasis put into the fight, I guess? Whereas if that emphasis wasn't there, it could be put into better use, maybe?
Absolutely not. I've been fighting this for so many years now, Chase, and actually I ran for the federal office of the New Democratic Party in 2004 to make a difference here in Canada and to put it on the platform of somebody who never tried to legalize marijuana before at any time. So in my lifetime, anyway, in my years.
Yeah.
So we brought it back on the table after a number of years and presented it back to the country because it has to be done. It has to be regulated. Something has to be done. People are dying. The harder and more deadly the drug, the more it needs to be legalized and regulated and off the street.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So, where are you coming from personally? Because you have a story to tell, don't you, behind this?
You better believe I do. Doesn't everybody have a story, Noel?
Yeah.
You better believe I do. I actually have been battling chronic progressive multiple sclerosis since I was 13 and I'm 46. So for 33 years I've been fighting this disease. I've been in and out of a wheelchair for the last 12. I'm on my feet walking with a cane 80% of the time now because I smoke tremendous amounts of cannabis. I am 50 grams or almost 2 ounces a day. I eat it in cookies, I drink it in tea, and I smoke about 30 cigarettes a day when I have it. So I use it around the clock, Chase, around the clock.
And that helps you tremendously?
Yeah, I have a little joke that if I don't have cannabis, I don't have MS, I am a mess. It's a whole lot easier to tell people, so.
Yeah.
Because my life goes right downhill when I don't have cannabis, boy. I take 32 pills a day and up to 2,000 milligrams of morphine daily when I don't have cannabis. And I've done that for 18 years, so I don't want to do that anymore.
Wow. Because some people argue that, there isn't any medical benefit and it's just stoners or young kids that want to legalize it, and that there's other maybe legal drugs that your doctor can prescribe you. But
sure, I've tried them all. I'd like to know what else is out there. I actually take 2,000 milligrams of morphine every day, because I have a really bad pain in my pulse all the time, like now, that flashes like lightning on a regular basis. So I need a lot of medication when I don't have that much morphine, as I said. I take over 32 other pills every day just to try to fight the pain in my face and all of my symptoms from multiple sclerosis. But I can eliminate more than 2/3 of those pills when I use as much cannabis as I do and use it around the clock. I can get rid of almost all my pills. So when I've done that for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been coming down off of all my pills.
wow. So it's quite beneficial then, eh?
Oh, it's tremendously beneficial. I actually have a website out there called the Medical Marijuana Mission. We've had over 30 million visits to it from all over the world. It can be found off my bio page on my speaker page at LEAP, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. That can be found at www.copsaylegalizedrugs.com. So please check it out. Go to my bio page again. My name is Alison Myrden. So check out my speaker page and check out the website at the bottom again called the Medical Marijuana Mission. You'll find a number of things there that you would have never believed before. We've had over 30 million visits from all over the world and we are going strong, boy.
Nice. And you work with students as well?
I do. I work with students all over the globe, actually. So
and we've got one here with us right now?
We do. My good friend Chepesiuk.
How's it going, Caleb?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. So what's your role? Like, what do you do?
I'm a staff member with Canadian Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We're a national grassroots organization based at the chapters across the country, made up of young people who want to say basically no to the prohibition of drugs and end the criminalization of drugs and drug users.
Okay. So to that end, I guess you have a whole organization, you have volunteers, or...
Well, we're based out of chapters across Canada, like Halifax, Ottawa, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto. And these chapters they work on issues that are important to their community. So if that chapter is particularly interested in marijuana policy and how it affects students or youth on their campus, that's something they can work on. If it's something like working on harm reduction programs, like working with needle exchanges, or doing fundraisers for those type of programs, that's what they can do too. It's really up to the chapters to work on what's important to their community.
That's cool. Yeah, when you're talking about needle exchanges, that's a pretty scary thing for a lot of people that aren't in this culture at all, I guess, that would never find themselves at an event like the Toronto Freedom Festival here. Because it's kind of scary to think, I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking here. How do you fight against this thing to people like my mom who would shut the door on you and not want to listen to you?
Well, I mean, we just, as youth, and we're a youth and student organization, and we say very clearly that the prohibition of substances doesn't protect young people. In fact, the prohibition of marijuana, of other drugs, like injection drugs, it puts young people on the front lines of the black market. It puts them at risk of contracting diseases. And I mean, as scary as needle exchange is, think about how much more scarier HIV is, or Hep C.
Or addiction.
It's a death sentence. And I mean, when you stack those two up, I think most people would take the safer option. I mean, it doesn't make using drugs safe. It just eliminates the death sentence possibility. And for young people, it makes sure that, a youthful indiscretion doesn't become a death sentence.
Yeah, because I know personally, I've been around a lot of alcoholics, and I've seen the destruction that's caused them. And maybe some of these, because alcohol is legal, pretty much anyone can drink it, and students are drinking it, and we know, even though they're not of age, they can still get it easily, and that, there's accidents on the roads and things like that. So that causes a lot of problems too.
But there's also,
it is legal.
Alcohol is very available, but for a high school student, for even an elementary school student, marijuana is far more available than alcohol.
Are easier to get.
Is it really?
Yeah, surveys have proved this for the last 20-25 years. That, for a young person...
Go to their website. What's your website?
Our website is www.cssdp.org. And we've also just released a youth drug education resource. It's www.notforme.org, the number 4. And this is because the government introduced, it's called the Drugs Not For Me campaign. And it was based on basically misinformation, on fear tactics, on morally based messages. And so in order to respond to that, we created our own resource that's based on honest information. It's based on an open dialogue with young people. And it also includes things like harm reduction tips. So if a young person wants to use marijuana, they can do so safely so that it doesn't negatively affect them in the future.
Okay. So there isn't really negative effects, because if you drink for a long time, it can kill your liver. If you smoke cigarettes for a long time, you can get emphysema. Is there that same risk?
We don't say that marijuana is benign. It is a drug, and like all drugs, it has risks and it has benefits. And under the criminal prohibition, we're not adequately addressing either of those. The prohibition, one of those dangerous things about marijuana right now is getting a criminal record. That has serious long-term implications, especially if you're a young person and you want to become a lawyer or you want to be bonded in your profession. You can't do that with a criminal record. And over a small amount of marijuana, that is absurd. And that's part of the problem, is that if we want to honestly address the risks, the health impacts, and talk honestly with young people, we have to change the policies that adequately reflects the risks and benefits of the drug itself.
Yeah, that makes sense, because we don't want a young kid making a mistake, or that ends up following them forever, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely. And nobody wants that. Police chiefs say that, doctors say that, teachers say that, but yet nobody steps up and says we need this policy change. So as youth and students, we're standing up with police officers, with correctional officers. We're standing up with all those people now, and it's really an international movement that's grown into change the policy so that we can adequately regulate drugs to protect young people.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you know how many members you have or supporters you have?
I don't know, off the top of my head.
Roughly? Either your latest last stats, or 30,000, 40,000?
Can I just keep saying we have chapters across?
Sure, that's awesome. That's incredible. Let's get out there, kids, and join CSSDP. Canadian Students for Sensible Drug Policy.
And it's real easy. It really only takes 2 or 3 people to start a chapter. It's just putting on a simple information event or a movie event. And also, if you're in the Toronto area, we're hosting a student and youth drug policy reform conference in November. It's November 5th to 7th. We're looking for all sorts of input and help from young people in the area. So if you want to get involved, check out our website, www.cssvp.org, and get involved with the only youth and student-run drug policy reform conference in Canada.
All right, that's cool, because we're from Hamilton. We're called DOPEfm. Been on the air.
We got a chapter there.
For quite a long time. Yeah. Okay, so that's good for maybe that chapter to come
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, run by a fellow named Robert Link. I believe he just started that. Robert has a license for medical cannabis like I do. I'm one of the first licensed patients in the country. I've had my license for almost 11 years, but I've had marijuana on prescription since 1994-95. So I'm one of the first in the country to ever use it as medicine. So
really? Wow.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of interviews over the years, thousands of interviews over the years.
Yeah, we're based at MAC, so we're on location today, but we're at CFMU 93.3.
Yeah.
So, all right, it's been great talking to you, raising your awareness here for people, and thanks a lot.
Thanks so much,
you.
Chase.
All right.
Bye, everybody.